Hi, and welcome to part 2 of the grade 8 and 9 prerequisite video. So we're going to look at congruent triangles. So read each bubble which states a congruent sufficiency condition. Based on the information provided, make marks or symbols on the sides and or angles of the triangle to match what the bubble reads. The angle side angle example has been done for you as an example. Remember, ticks on sides indicate equal sides, symbols or letters indicate equal angles. So for instance, the Asa sufficiency condition. It states that if two angles and the contained side of one triangle are equal to two sides and the contained side of the other triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Now, congruent means same shape and same size. And the word contains means in between. So, two angles, so one angle X, one angle O, it's the same as this angle X and this angle O. And the contained side, which means the side in between, it has two ticks. The side in between here has two ticks. That means the angle, a side, and an angle of this triangle are equal to the angle, a side, and this angle in this triangle. So the two triangles are congruent. The next congruency sufficiency condition: if all three sides of one triangle are equal to all three sides of the other triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So the shortest side would have to equal the shortest side. The next shortest side would have to equal the next shortest side over here. And the longest side would have to equal the longest side. So that's what it means by labeling to show that they are congruent. The angle-side sufficiency condition states if two angles and one non-contained side, so that's the side that's not in between the two angles, of one triangle are equal to two angles and one non-contained side of the other triangle in the same order, then the triangles are congruent. So if this angle is X and this angle is O, and it's equal to these two angles, and you have a non-contained side. So that would be, for instance, this side being equal to this side. That side has to be on the same side, so it comes off the O angle. So that would have to come off the O angle, so not over here. So those two would be congruent. The hypotenuse length sufficiency condition says if the hypotenuse and another side or two shorter sides of one right triangle are equal to the hypotenuse and another side or the other two shorter sides of another triangle, then the sides are congruent. So if the hypotenuse is equal to this hypotenuse and this side is equal to this side, then you have two congruent triangles. The side angle side sufficiency condition states if two sides and the contained angle of one triangle are equal to two sides and the contained angle of the other triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So if this side and this side are equal to this side and this side, and if the contained angle is the same as this, then the two triangles are congruent. So those are the only kinds of sufficiency conditions for proving that triangles are congruent. So in this example, we want to find out, are these triangles congruent? Which congruent sufficiency condition applies? Whenever it talks about a sufficiency condition, it's asking which one of these applies. So, because this side is equal to this side is equal to this side is equal to this side, then the sufficiency condition is side, side, side. We don't know anything about the angles, but we know that all three sides of this triangle are equal to all three sides in this triangle. And you have to state the congruency statement. The order of the letters matter. So start with any letter, such as A. From the A, we go down the 6th side to get to B, and then we go down the 8th side to get to the C. So that means you have to do the exact same thing in this triangle. We're starting at A, which is between the 6 and the 12, which means we have to start with D. Then we have to travel down the 6th side to get to E. Then we have to travel down the 8th side to get to F. Now that may make sense because the letters are in order, but you might get some examples where the letters are not in order. So please don't think that the letters have to be in alphabetical order. Next example, and I'm sorry, you're just going to have to make a little bit of a correction because we have a mistake. So this vertex, instead of it being P, it will be N. This vertex, instead of it being H, it will be P. And this vertex, instead of being M, will be Q. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is solve for X. X is a side, and that side is between N and P. So if we look at our congruency statement, N and P are the first two letters of this triangle. That means they will correspond to the first two letters of this triangle, which are R and S. So between R and S, it's 8 centimeters. So that means X is equal to 8 centimeters. That's why writing the letters is important, because it shows you which vertex, so which angle and which sides correspond to each other. Y is another side. It is in between S and T. So S and T are the last two letters of this triangle. So the last two letters of this triangle are P and Q. So that means Y is equal to 5. And lastly, Z is an angle, and the angle is Q. That is the last letter. So it corresponds to the last letter of this triangle, which is T. So Z is equal to whatever this angle is. And how can we figure out what that angle is? Remember that the three angles have to add up to 180. So if we take 180, subtract 50, and subtract 45, you get 85 degrees. So that means Z is equal to 85 degrees. So that's how you use this information to figure out the missing values. So press pause and try example 3 on your own, and then come back to the video to check your answer. Press pause now, please. Okay, welcome back. Here is your solution to example 3. First, we wanted to find the value of X. X is the same as angle G, and G corresponds to angle K. The problem was that we couldn't figure out K directly because we knew that this angle was 62, but we didn't know what this angle was. But what we could do is figure out what angle H was. H corresponded to E, and since angle E was 80, that meant H was 80. Then you could take 80 and 62 away from 180, because they all have to add up to 180, and then you could figure out that K was equal to 38. So if K was 38, that's your value of X. Y was side HJ, so that's the first two letters of this triangle, so it corresponds to the first two letters of this triangle, which is EF, and that's 6 centimeters. And using a likewise procedure, Z is equal to 9.6. The last example is to show that these two triangles are congruent. What you have to do is figure out the sufficiency condition. So those sufficiency conditions, again, were listed right here. So one thing we know for sure is that because we don't know all the side lengths, it can't be side, side, side. Because they're not right angles, it can't be HL. So some things we can do is, because this line is parallel to this line, you can see a Z pattern right here. That means angle A is equal to angle C. And because you have to show that the triangles are congruent, you have to actually write this out. Angle A is equal to angle C because of the Z pattern. So those are the same things. And you have another Z pattern going the other way. So angle B is equal to angle D. Angle B is equal to angle D, again because of the Z pattern. The last piece of information, this tick and this tick means that they are the same length. So that means that AB is equal to, now again you have to get things in the right order, AB, because we're starting at the red angle and finishing at the blue angle, you have to say that AB is equal to CD. Again, not because they're alphabetical, but because A corresponds to C and B corresponds to D. So if you write A first, you have to write C first. And if you write B second, you have to write D second. So if you wrote AB equals DC, that would not be the correct way of writing it. And because you've been given a tick to indicate that they're equal, you can just say we know this because given. So that is showing that the triangles are congruent. To state the congruency statement, that means we're going to say that triangle ABE is congruent, that's your congruent symbol, to triangle, and you need to get the letters in the right order. We want A, B, E. So red, blue, nothing. So red, blue, nothing. So you have to write C, D, E. So that is the congruency statement. The sufficiency condition are these things. We have this angle and the side in between. That means the sufficiency condition is angle, side, angle. Okay, lastly, to determine the values of x, y, and z, so x is side DE, so DE goes with BE, and BE is equal to 5.2. So x is 5.2 centimeters. Y is right here. That's angle B. Angle B corresponds to angle D. So y is equal to 40. Lastly, z is equal to 100 because those are opposite angles. Okay, so please watch part 3 for the Pythagorean theorem. That it will be a very short part 3. Thank you.